So basically, you're running off the batteries, and it was tough. It was tough, and everything I was asking to my FO, who was the captain, she was like, "Oh, I'm not really sure. I haven't seen this before."
You know what? So it is great for the captain because that's probably the only time in the sim where you're like, right, just take my captain hat off. Nothing to do with me.
I'll just sit back.
And even though obviously we know what to do, you're like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can we not just turn it back on? Nope.
Yeah. Hey, and welcome to this episode of Aiming Point. I'm Aaron, long-haul pilot based in the Middle East.
Hi, everyone. My name's Michelle. I am a short-haul pilot based in the UK.
Cool. So, what's been going on?
Oh, what's been going on? So I went to work yesterday. I was in the sim, actually, yesterday and...
Nice.
Monday. Is it Wednesday today? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tuesday and Monday I was in the sim. So now that I finished all of my normal flying and I'm back current again, I'm going back in the sim to do my TRI refresher. Mm-hmm. So yesterday I observed a sim. So I'm kind of just on the jump seat in the sim, just observing the instructor and the trainees. And then on Monday I also did the same. But it's more, I'm not really watching what the trainees are doing. I'm more watching what the instructor's doing because we've got, the instructor panel that we need to be pressing the buttons. Mm-hmm. And obviously I did it 2 years ago. And even before I did the course, I did think it was a little bit mad that I'm going to be in the seat training and doing the sim panel and, adding value to the trainees and organising the lesson. That is a lot of stuff to do, and it seemed like from the start of my course to the end of the course, I was like, this is not long enough, guys. This is not long enough for us to get comfortable with this. And then before you know it, you're in the sim, you're pressing the buttons, you're, adding some input, you're talking about, just talk to me about that landing again, what do you think you'll do differently next time? And then it kind of just comes naturally-ish, like you kind of get used to it. So that's what I'm trying to cast my mind back to in the moments now that I'm thinking, I don't know if I could do this again. But it'll be fine.
It'll be all good.
It'll be fine, yeah. So on Sunday, I'm taking a sim session, but I'm being observed. So I'm going to have one of our, what would you call them? Like our instructor trainers is watching me. So at least I'm going to be taking the sim and then he'll give me any inputs that he thinks I need, or if I've got any questions then I'll ask him. And I think the day after is my sign off. So he'll be in the back, somebody will be in the back again, but it'll be more of a case that he's just kind of watching, like on a line check. They're just there to watch you. They're not really going to give you any pointers unless I really need them, obviously. So that's what I've been doing this week. So for the rest of the week, I need to head in the books and just get myself back up to speed with everything. So that's what I've been doing. What about you?
Cool.
Where you been?
Cool.
Been anywhere nice?
I have just come back from Washington. So
nice.
That was cool. Yeah, it was a good trip. Really good trip.
Did you come back yesterday?
I came back, yesterday morning. What's today? Wednesday? I think I came back. No, yesterday morning. I came back yesterday. Man, the days,
long haul pilot brain, or even just pilot brain.
Honestly.
Whatever day it is. We just know that we're not working today.
Exactly. It's just a non-working day. It was really cool, actually, especially after the last episode, I was talking about the space shuttle. On the way there, it was cool, actually, because I was with, the other FO was one of my batch mates, so he joined the same time as me. So that was cool. We hadn't seen each other for a few months.
That's cool. Did you get a chance to chat with the FO on the way, or is it kind of like eating into your rest time or eating into his rest time, and then?
Yeah, it kind of is a little bit. But we kind of chatted on the way to the aircraft a little bit.
Yeah.
once we'd finished setting up and everything.
Yeah.
And then again, well, we hung out down route, so that was cool. We made a plan
Nice.
of let's do something. I don't know what, but let's do something. And then
hmm
on the way,
Was it both of your first times to Washington?
no, it was my second, and
Okay.
he's like fourth, I think.
Oh, fine.
We went to the museum actually, so the Air and Space Museum,
Yeah.
and it was awesome. So they had
Yeah.
the space shuttle there, which was really cool.
Nice.
So we got to see it. Yeah, that was
Nice.
awesome. The Blackbird. No.
No, sorry. I think I've heard of it. Yeah, no, sorry.
It's basically like
I'm sure people
you
out
would know
there
it
are
if you
like, oh my
saw it.
gosh, that's amazing. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
you would know it if you saw it. It's like a
All right.
military, really, really, really high speed jet, like
Okay, give me
talking
one
like
sec. Let me have
2,000
a
miles
quick
an
look.
hour.
Let me see.
Yeah, go and check it out.
Blackbird, airplane. Oh, yeah. Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay. But it just
yeah,
looks fast.
yeah, exactly.
It
It looks pretty
looks fast already. Okay. That's cool.
cool. Yeah.
I bet the cockpit there is tiny.
So small, and we couldn't go in
Tiny.
it, but we could see
Yeah.
inside, and it's like, oh, it looks so cramped. Like,
So cramped. Because the
yeah,
window would just be
yeah,
right here. And especially for you,
just
because
like
you're
right
quite
here.
tall. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be so cramped. So, but no, it was really cool. They had a few other things there. They had a Concorde there from Air France.
Oh, nice.
What else? A
I
707.
wonder, do they still have the Concorde in Charles de Gaulle?
They do, yes.
That one
Yeah.
there, okay.
You
I
mean the
wonder
one
how
that's
many they've got
outside?
dotted around. Yeah, when you taxi from the southern runways up to the north. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
And at Heathrow as well.
Oh, do
They
they?
have they have one, a BA one. Yeah.
Oh, how long was the flight?
I think it was 14 hours there and just under 12 hours back. So,
Okay.
yeah, some nice winds on the way back. So,
Yeah,
cool.
I bet. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you've had
Yeah,
a
it was
good,
cool.
good week, because we spoke last week, didn't we? So that's you've probably just done that one trip.
Yeah, I don't know whether last time I think I'd just done a sim. So, yeah, that's what all the time.
That's true.
Pretty
That's
sure.
true. Okay. And then your
And then
next flight is?
back in the sim Friday and Saturday for my PPC. So like my annual license.
What does PPC
like a
stand
LPC,
for?
OPC type of thing. Pilot proficiency check.
Okay, we do
But
license
I think
proficiency check, yeah.
people call
It's
it
all the
different
same
stuff,
thing.
but it's basically to sign my license off and also a little bit of training on the side as well. So
Yeah.
checking and
Yeah.
training, annual fun.
The usual stuff. So that brings us nicely onto this week's topic.
Doesn't it
See what we did
just?
there? Doesn't it just?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, this week we thought we'd talk a little bit about life in the sim as a pilot.
Yeah.
Because you can't do one without the other. You can't be a pilot without going in the sim, really. Like a commercial pilot, really, without going in the sim. It's just part and parcel of the journey that you take.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and that's basically where we get checked and trained. And I'd say it happens at the very least every 6 months.
At the very least, every 6 months, yeah. That's true. Because normally you have like a winter sim module, sim session, and then you have one in the summer. And obviously I think airlines do it slightly differently. The CAA, so the governing body, have got a say also in what we need to do, and then the company will add on stuff that they think, as a company, maybe that I think what they do, they look at trends over the last year or the last 2 years, and they think, oh, maybe as a company we've had a few, well, we're not doing so well in crosswind landings for whatever it is. So then the next sim module is like, right, captains and first officers, we're going to be practicing our crosswind landings to make sure that we understand the technique and we're doing the technique. Fine. Yeah. Then the next one, it might be something else. So yeah, it changes every 6 months. You do something different. Yeah. So how we do it is in the winter, and our winter season is from October till April. So we do a 3-day sim session. So you come in day 1, day 2, day 3, you do different stuff on each day. But day 1 is, like your license check. So as pilots, we have to renew our license every year. It's like doing your driving test every year, which I think probably some people should. Some people should just do a little refresher drive.
When I see people on the roads, I'm like, I really think there should be a check every year for some people.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, like theory, we have to do theory alongside it. So obviously time in the sim is very valuable. You know, we've got 4-hour slots and there's a lot to fit in. And sometimes you can't talk about everything. So some things need a little bit more time. So we might do an online module of stall recovery or upset recovery training, something like that, where you can spend a little bit more time. We also do tech quizzes on the side. I don't know if you guys do the same, but there might be 40, 50 questions. And that's just a way for us to just keep up to date with the tech knowledge, and also finding your way through the manuals. I think that's probably the main thing, because we've got so many different manuals, and trying to stay on top of how to find different subjects, different references, you know.
So true. Is
different
it a technical
limitations.
thing? Is it a policy? Is it a company policy? Or
exactly?
And all these things are in different parts and different manuals, and
exactly. So that's what we do. Also, I think we do that every 6 months, probably. I can't remember now. I mean, I'm just coming back, so I've done a lot of retraining. But then like day 1 for the sim, and what we're starting to do now, I don't know about you, is, do they call it evidence-based training?
Yeah, EBT, evidence-based training.
EBT,
yeah, you're
that's
right.
it. So instead of saying, this is what we're going to train you on, it's like, go in the sim, there'll be a couple of different failures. You carry on as if, deal with whatever you get. And then at the end of the sim session, maybe after an hour and a half, we'll stop the sim session. And that's like a snapshot of where the crew are on that day. And once they've collected all of the data from all of the crews, then they can see, right, our crews are at this standard. They're turning up to the sim without even knowing what's going to happen. They're turning up to the sim at this level, this amount of knowledge. Even if you're super experienced or you're brand new, this is the level that we're working at. So then for the next sim, we know where the holes are in the gaps of knowledge, those kind of things. Which I think in some ways, when you're a new pilot, I don't know how you felt about turning up to the sim for your first ever sim. I was nervous because it just seems like a lot. It seems very official. You're with the training captain, you know, and they're going to sign your license. And you're like, please make sure I've just learned, you know, I've remembered everything that I've learned from my type rating on the line. So, it can be quite a lot when you're brand new. Yeah.
I mean, I still think sometimes it can be a lot generally. Like, I would say I'm always a bit apprehensive. I wouldn't say nervous, but I would say I'm always kind of apprehensive leading up to the sim, thinking, have I studied enough? Do I know enough? It's more the knowledge side of it. How am I going to work through if I get this failure or if I get that failure? But then when I'm actually in the sim and doing it, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is great. This is great.
It's just like a normal day. You just deal with it, deal with whatever happens.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And obviously you make mistakes along the way, and, you know, you think you should have done something a bit differently once you've come out of the sim, but generally it's just such a good experience. It's great being in the sim, being able to train stuff and see things that most of the time you're only reading about or brushing up on something.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's probably why flying is one of the safest modes of transport, because all of those like really nasty emergencies very, very, very rarely happen in real life, but we practice them, like you said, minimum twice a year. We're doing an engine failure on takeoff. We're doing an engine fire on the runway. We're doing, you know, depressurization. So all of those big things. I mean, obviously, if that happened for me in real life, my heart rate is going to go up. The adrenaline's going to kick in. But then also, I can switch my mind to, we just did that the other day in the sim. So I know exactly what to do. And like you said, day to day, I don't want to make a too big a point, but like we might make little mistakes along the way. I think that's just the nature of being human beings, the nature of waking up at 3 a.m. or going to bed at 3 a.m. But I think as a team, that's what we're really trained for. You'd look out for me, I'd look out for you. We work together as a team. We just want to get the plane on the ground safely.
Yeah.
And in the sim, everything
true.
is just, if you can take something away from the sim, if you make a mistake in the sim, that's the place to make the mistake, because then you can learn from it. You can have another go at it. And then when you get on the line, you at least know, right, this is what I'm going to do differently next time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, there's some things that we do on a yearly basis or maybe even a 6-monthly basis that almost just become muscle memory after a while. So rejected takeoffs and engine failure on just after V1, these type of things that are very critical time-wise and in a critical phase of flight, we tend to do more often, so that when it does happen, it's almost automatic. It's just muscle memory. We know what to do. We don't even have to think about it.
100%.
Yeah.
But what things do you have to do to renew your license? And I think it's mainly, so renewing your license also includes your instrument rating. So your air transport pilot license with your instrument rating. Yeah. What things do you have to do?
So it'll be the same type of thing. So rejected takeoff, a V1 cut, engine out, departure.
So just for our listeners that might not know, so V1 is just before we've rotated the plane. At that point, once we've rotated, we have to continue the takeoff, and like V1 is the speed that comes before that.
Yeah, as soon as you hit V1, then you're going to continue the takeoff. There's not really enough runway to stop after V1 because you're going so fast. We do engine failure after V1, and we'll do manually flown, probably ILS, single or one engine out, 4 engines. So hey, nice.
Oh yeah. Could you fly on just one engine on a 380?
I've flown 2.
Stupid question, of course. Flying 2.
Yeah. Okay. So flown 2.
2 on one side.
Yeah.
Have you ever done
we
that?
can fly 2 on one side. Yeah. So when I did the type rating, that was one of the things we had to do is 2 engine approach and land with 2 engines out on one side. So that was interesting.
Okay.
What else? A non-precision approach, so a non-ILS approach.
Yeah.
So it could be an RNAV or a VOR approach.
Yeah.
What else? A go around. Probably a one engine out go around as well.
Yep, that's true.
And then in the winter, especially, we would do the low visibility operations. Yeah. So auto lands and
I think that's the same as us. Yeah, that's the usual routine. So those are the items that there's no you have to do them. Every pilot has to do that. That is part of your license as an absolute minimum. These are the items. So say you've got a commercial pilot's license, those are the items that have been signed off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's where we need. So differences in terms of instructors. You have a TRE type rating examiner, and those guys tend to do day one because they're an examiner on behalf of the CAA, and they can sign off your license for those items. Then for the rest of the training for us, it can either be a TRE or a TRI type rating instructor. Question for you. So we fly in full flight simulators, and what that means is we actually go into a box and it's on hydraulic stilts, and it moves. It feels so real when you're inside. You almost forget that you're in a box. You really do feel like you're in a plane because the visuals are amazing. The different weather that you can get. Yesterday we were doing cold weather operations, so we could have snow. There was sleet on the runway. You can have turbulence. You can have, what weather is, all kinds of weather.
Yeah.
But all of the visuals are so good. If we're coming into Gatwick, it looks like Gatwick. I feel like I'm actually landing on 26 left into Gatwick. Do you know how much one of those would cost, a full flight sim? Now, I don't have specifics here, but...
So a rough estimate. Let me say $1 million.
something like that. To be honest, when I asked you this question, I put, okay, full flight simulators for A320 can cost anywhere between several $100,000 to several millions. And like that depends on what kind of features it's got. So much money. So expensive. I don't even know how much does a plane cost?
I'll have a look just to check.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not just the cost of the actual simulator. It's actually how much maintenance has got to be done on it as well. So, you know, the maintenance costs, you have to have so much maintenance every flight, every day.
Yeah.
There has to be an engineer on call pretty much all the time, just in case something crashes or something crashes as in software crashes, or something goes wrong.
Nice.
Or something goes wrong.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, because you're just flying in a massive computer that's on hydraulics.
Yeah.
So the engineers need to be there.
A320 costs 100 million for a new one.
For a new plane.
Yeah, for a brand new one.
Yeah.
And the initial purchase like 383 to 400 million. Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know why that feels so that does feel surprising. That feels very, very, very expensive.
Yeah,
when you think about how many of them are flying around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't break it.
No, don't break it. No, don't. Gosh. No, stuff on planes is very expensive.
Yeah.
I think, because I think a lot of people would be surprised when they see the full flight sims. And like yesterday when we came out of the sim and you can see the sim next to us that was still going, and it's just a huge box that's just, you know, tilting down, left, right, shaking a little bit. And you just think, you don't feel... I have to remind myself that I'm actually in a simulator when you're in the sim, because you just completely forget.
It's true. Sometimes you really do forget, and you just it just feels normal.
I feel like you're just at playing.
Which is strange.
Sorry, just at work. But then I suppose that's good, because also when I'm at work, no offense to the passengers, but when the door's closed, this is just me in my office, my office, and I'm not too concerned with what's going on back there, because this is me in my office, and as long as we're safe at the front and I speak to the cabin crew and everybody's happy back there, then we're good.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. So other than the regulatory kind of sims that we do every 6 months, I was just thinking of the other types of sim sessions there actually are. So I guess there's the initial type rating or conversion course. So
true.
That could be anywhere from, I think my type rating was about 40 hours in the sim. My initial type rating. I can't
remember the hours, but I remember my type rating length of time was, so once I'd finished my training at Oxford and I had my CPLIR, then we had to go into the simulator to like do the A320 type rating. And that was 6 weeks, but I think the first 2 weeks maybe was ground school, so that's when we're doing all of the theory.
Okay.
So maybe 40 hours, something like that. Then for the rest of the time, we're in the simulator. Yeah. Learning how everything works.
Yeah, exactly. Then there's conversion course, which I mean, for us it was, I want to say it was 16 sims. Might have been a bit less.
Okay, so that's when you're moving from one aircraft. Yeah, one aircraft to another.
Exactly, yeah. So that was from the 320 to the 380. And some of them were fixed-based simulators. So, I mean, some of them, they didn't have any screens, no screens, no motion.
Okay.
It was almost just a classroom with the FMS and the MCDU, all the setup, but no screens and no movement.
But then that has a purpose in itself, so that so you don't have to be spending all of your time in a full flight simulator if you're just practicing how to type the flight plan in, get the weather or whatever else.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah. And then we do the 6 monthly checks. There's also like return to work sims. So you've done one recently, right?
Yeah, return to work. If people have been off for like long-term sick, or they've, taken 6 months unpaid leave and they need to come back just to do refresher training. And obviously it's slightly different because I was off. The rules are if you're off between 1 year and 3 years, you do a specific amount of sims. If you're off for over 3 years, then you do additional sims. If you're off for less than 1 year, you don't have to do as many.
Right. So it's kind of company based, but
it's company based.
Yeah.
I think obviously they based it on how much training they think
you
is
require
needed.
after.
Yeah, and how much they can give you in. What did I do? I did 3 return to work sims. And obviously, if I felt like I needed more before then going into my license renewal sim, then I could have had more. But I felt like I was at a good point to go into it.
That makes sense.
Another type of sim, let's say like for Cat C airfields.
Yeah.
So most airfields they call them Category A, where there's not really any additional procedures or terrain issues or ATC issues to think about. Then the next category is Cat B, where it's, I think, Split and Dubrovnik. Are they Cat B?
I think so, because there's quite a bit of terrain close by the airfield, and some of them are non-standard approaches.
We have one side coming in, like Split 05 is a standard approach coming in that way. But then runway 23 is a slightly different approach. So that's just, but there'll be some additional information on how to fly the approach, extra things for us to think about if we're going there. And then you have Cat C airfields, which might be places that are captains only, where crew need additional training, where you've got a much shorter or a narrow runway. So we have a couple of those that we fly to. And you don't need to have simulator training for all of them. But for example, Innsbruck, you do.
Yeah.
I can't remember the others because I don't go there. But I know for Innsbruck, sorry, not helpful at all.
Who cares?
Captain and first officer have to go in the sim and just go through all of the different arrivals, different go-arounds, different missed approach procedures, different single engine procedures. Because there's actually quite a few things that we need to think about before we go there. So those kind.
Yeah, it makes sense. So we do manual handling sims we spoke about before.
Oh, of course.
Which is just, as we said before, we don't hand fly as much, so it's just a chance to actually hand fly more, take the autopilot out, take the auto thrust out, and have a fly basically. Practice some landings in different conditions. When do you guys normally
disconnect the autopilot?
I mean, it really depends. It depends on the day, depends on the airfield, but we're allowed to disconnect the autopilot at any point below, 20,000 feet. We can if we want to. And I've flown with a few guys that have and want to fly up to 20,000 feet, and it's a bit like, okay, we're just flying in a straight line. Okay, that's the
thing. When you're flying after takeoff, it's just point it up.
Yeah, once you've done a couple of turns, I appreciate, because normally what I would do is do the takeoff. If there's a couple of turns during the departure, do the turns, but then after a while, it's going to be straight for quite a long time. Yeah, autopilot's going in.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, and then descent, it depends the airfield, to be honest. I would say quite a few airfields that we fly to are very busy, so I feel that sometimes it's just not appropriate because it's so busy, it's tougher on the pilot monitoring. So if I want to fly down from like 20,000 feet, it's like, come on, the workload's going to be so high. More for the pilot not flying because he's got to monitor me more than but I would say generally I'd probably take up to like 7,000, and then on the way in probably like 3,000 maybe, probably my average.
Probably average. Okay.
And the only other sim I can think of is like an interview sim. So if you're joining a new airline or something, they may ask you to do a sim as like an entrance interview kind of sim. Say interview sim is more like Yeah,
Because they want to see
entrance
how
sim.
you operate in the aircraft.
Yeah, and that can be interesting because you could be flying a completely different aircraft type than what you've ever flown before, which is
Mm,
a bit mad.
completely
Um,
different. Did you do
yeah.
your interview sim on a 380?
So yeah, I did. So I was going for at the same time I was interviewing for two different companies. So the company I'm with now, yeah, I interviewed on a 380.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, I didn't. I was lucky that the 380 sims were all full on my interview day, and they had a 320 sim. So
Oh,
I was like, oh, this is easy.
comfortable. Nice.
And I
Fine.
think like 2 weeks before, I just done my LPC, OPC, and it was basically the same.
On the 320. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So I was just
Nice.
like, easy.
Yes.
Um, and for the other airline, it was completely different. So it was 737 sim. And yeah, they just sent us a brief like a week before and said,
Mm-hmm.
these are the speeds, as in this is going to be the rotate speed. This is the climb speed. And
Yeah.
this is the cruising speed. And then on the way in, they just said, these are the limiting speeds for the flaps. And that was it.
Oh, wow. And those things you just
Yeah.
had to remember and just fly.
You just had to remember it. Yeah. I had a little sticky note. I just stuck it on the panel in front of me just so I remembered, but
Yeah.
which was fine.
Well, that's quite a lot. But then I suppose, a lot of people are just in the same situation and they're going to have to give you they're going to have to be a little bit lenient that this
Yeah,
isn't what I
exactly.
fly.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I say
which
it's like,
they are, and they kind of tailored the sim for that. So anyone that
mm-hmm.
hadn't had type experience, the sim was a little bit easier in the fact that they gave us a failure as we were coming into land, or they gave us,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say a failure. Well, we didn't get a failure. We just got a very ridiculous vector. So we were going to leave us very high, and we just had to kind of
Oh,
be like,
okay. Air
no,
traffic
no, it's not going to
control
work.
being a pain. Okay.
Yeah. Whereas the guys who had type experience, they give them an engine failure. So a
Okay.
few more
Yeah.
things to run through. Yeah.
Okay.
I think actually they
Okay.
gave us cargo smoke, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But again,
Just to see how you
we were
handle it.
landing anyway, and they just wanted to see us go through a procedure. They just slipped us a bit of paper which had the procedure on it. And they're like, okay,
Do that.
fire, push button, push,
Yeah. Okay,
and
fine.
then, yeah.
So I suppose,
It's gone.
I mean, if you've got some flying experience, could be more about how you operate in general as a pilot. Like we talked about last week with like your non-technical skills.
Yeah.
Can you still use those even though you're in a completely different environment?
Yeah. Yeah. And, at the end of the day, every aircraft is pitch and power, so the actual flying part of it is, okay,
That's
you're at
true.
a certain pitch, you have full power, you just use your pitch
Yeah.
to regulate the speed, or,
Yeah. It just slightly different display that you might get.
slightly different display, slightly different controls, and yeah.
Mm. And I think it's like, when because not all planes look the same on the inside. Like they're probably
Yeah.
the same screens, but maybe the words are slightly different. Things are called slightly different. The overhead panel, things might be arranged in slightly different way.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's like if you're driving in the right-hand seat, and then all of a sudden you go to drive in the left-hand seat, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like it just looks completely different. And it does take your brain a while to like re-engage, like just switch on a little bit.
Yeah. Because you
So
have to think
it's
about
not
things a lot
completely
more.
new. Yeah. Yes, you can just feel like your workload has gone up already. You don't have as much spare capacity to start thinking about extra things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
nice.
question for you: Do you have
God.
any? Do you have any tips, or do you do anything specific when you're like prepping for a sim?
For my sim.
Yeah.
So I like to I'm quite thorough when I prepare. So I've got, a list of things. So I think going into the sim, we do get a little brief about what to expect in the sim. So I'll make my way through that. But it's not going to tell you exactly what different failures you're going to get. So it just gives you a general overview that we might be looking at landing practice, or we'll do some winter ops. But I like to go into the manuals a little bit more and spend a bit more time looking at this reference, or things that I might have forgotten. And then I just make my own little list that I can actually take into the sim with me. I think we all want to feel good about ourselves when we go into the sim and when we come out of the sim. So I just make sure that I've refreshed my memory on the memory items, the things that we need to know straight away, memory items. I have a look through my notes that I made from the previous sim and think about like, oh, what did I forget last time? Oh, you're on a rejected takeoff. Make sure you double check with ATC in the cabin before you evacuate, little things like that. And I'm like, oh yeah, then I'll write that down. I try not to. Well, I mean, it's much easier for me these days because I've been in the sim quite a few times, not to get stressed about it, because I know that just deal with whatever happens. Don't try and overthink things. Don't try and second guess what's coming up. Deal with what happens. And also make sure you fully understand the aircraft state before you start jumping into other things. And also especially if it's a thing where something I don't understand 100%, pause the sim and ask the question. You know?
Yeah.
Let me learn it properly once now here in this environment where we can pause the sim. Oh yeah, I did that, but actually what I should have done next time is maybe do that or put the thrust on a little bit quicker to counteract whatever, you know?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I think I'm very similar. And I think, I mean, if I'm going to a sim now, I will mainly maybe get an overview of the systems if there's going to be a certain system that they're focusing on this phase. And then I think for me, it's more about just making sure I've got my failure management model on point, just making sure I'm remembering, okay, first thing we're doing, fly, navigate, communicate, and go from there. Just take a second to relax, and then, okay, let's work out the failure and go through the failure management model.
Yep.
But yeah, like I said, I think it's really just chill out. Let's just work through it. And if you can, and if it's like a training part of the sim, then stop the sim, ask questions if there's time and things like that.
Yeah. I think when I first became a captain, I had a sheet that I would take into every sim, and it would say fly, navigate, communicate. Then the next step could even be hand over control, move my seat back, take a breath. Yeah. Just as a reminder in that moment, not to be like, okay, what's going on? You do this. It's like, actually just take a breath, because not all things that happen in the sim require you to be rushing around. There's very few failures that we get that you need to be rushing to get yourself on the ground, or rushing to start sorting out the problem, speaking to the cabin crew, speaking to air traffic control. Very few problems. The majority of things, from our point of view, especially, your aircraft's still flying. You've still got fuel. Probably not going to continue to your destination, but that's fine. Let's just manage what we've got. So I made sure that I wrote things down, and that really helped, because I knew in the quiet of my house, I could write these things down, and I could think, right, these are the steps that I want to do. And if I had that there, then I knew I wouldn't forget anything. So then taking that into the sim, when you can feel your adrenaline go, as a new captain, and you're like, oh, have I done this right? Have I done that right? Did I think about this? You look at your sheet, and you think, actually, fly, navigate, communicate, done. What's coming next? Oh yeah, I've handed control over, DODA, done. Then you can, just work your way through that list. And now I don't even need to look at the list because I know what we need to do.
Yeah.
But that's the way it worked for me. Just have that little piece of paper, have it there. You're allowed to have those kind of things, That's not, as an instructor, that's not what I'm instructing you on, whether you can remember the order which you need to do things. If you've got a little list, you make sure you carry it out, and you're methodical, you take your time, and if it works for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess for those, if anyone's doing a sim, like a sim during training or a type rating where you're actually just learning about a system, then I think you probably agree, is the biggest thing is do your homework before the sim session. Don't expect to just come to the sim session and learn everything there. Like, do the work beforehand. So when you get in the sim, you can do what you're supposed to be doing as best as you can. Like usually them kind of sims is all scripted anyway. So you will know exactly what things you're going to do throughout the whole sim. So do some research beforehand, have a look in the manuals, make sure you're happy with what's going to happen, and even come with the notes at the brief, just all the things you've written down.
Exactly.
Because I'm sure it goes, a long way with the trainer when they come in and see, oh, their book's open, they've got a whole load of notes that they've been studying. So, okay.
Yeah. And like if I start to ask a few questions, and every time you're like, oh, I'm not sure. Oh, I don't know. And you're like, have you done your prep for the sim? Like just a little bit.
Exactly.
Just a little bit before the sim. And I know sometimes it can seem like a lot studying the manuals, because it's a lot of reading. And then it's not the funnest thing to read ever, but have a little read on a flight. Read on the flight, pull the fuel system page up on the flight and think, okay, like if that one failed, how else are we going to get fuel from this side to that side? Oh, okay, yeah, fine. Like practical examples. Ask the person that you're flying with, if we had an engine fire now, what would you do? Oh, yeah, okay, I'll probably do this. Oh, I never thought about that. Just to keep the brain moving and think, especially as you're moving from FO to captain, that's probably how your brain's going to start working, start preparing for your moving seats. And that's also a good way to prepare for coming into the sim.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, true.
Okay.
So as a trainer, is there something that you're kind of generally looking for when you're going into the sim? Outside of the specifics, okay, I've got to make sure they do this, this, and this correctly. Is there some general stuff that you're looking for?
I think in general, just working together as a team, helping each other out.
Yeah.
Just being aware of if somebody seems like they're, working hard.
Yeah.
And they maybe they haven't said, or, like, I'm finding this a lot. Does the other person step in and say, oh, do you want me to do that for you? Yeah, that'd be really nice. As maybe that's more of a personal thing, because that's how I'd like it that's what I would like to do if I flew with somebody, or that's what I would like somebody else to do if they flew with me. But just working together as a team, because we're not going to know all the procedures all of the time in the correct order all of the time, and we're flying with different people all of the time. But can we come together as a team, whatever that might be? Oh, do you mind speaking to her traffic control? Yeah, that's fine. Do you mind just getting that in the manual? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. No, makes sense.
And I think it's you can see that from the back. I mean, I have not been a trainer for very long. I'm not taking many sessions, and all of the crews that I have done, I've never seen any problems. But I'm sure there's going to be people out there that have different personalities and they might clash. Yeah. And they've got a difference of opinion. And how do you work through that in that sim environment?
Yeah. Have you ever had anything crazy happen in the sim?
No, everything's been pretty good. I remember one sim that I did. I was a first officer.
Yeah.
And there was a trainer who had a little bit of a reputation.
Yeah.
And I think we were doing our single engine stuff, so the captain had just done his.
Right.
And I mean, it's not very easy for me to say because I was brand new, but the trainer, it seemed like the trainer had a few issues with the captain, or he was just like really picking holes at him and like really no, you need to do this, you need to do this again. And then he just looked over and was like, Michelle, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, he was really nice. It was like quite awkward because he was really nice to me, really giving it to the captain. Wow, and you're like, you're in this tiny box locked in for 4 hours.
Yeah, like, is there a backstory here? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, like, yeah, I'm fine, thanks. But really giving it to the captain. I was like, yeah, I'm fine, thanks.
Wow, that's crazy.
But yeah, I'm sure there are definitely other stories out there, but no, I don't have any yet.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Yeah. I mean, I had a guy once so I remember it was back in when I was flying the 320. The start of the sim always used to be like an EBT type of situation. The captain acts as a captain, the FO acts as an FO, and you just work through the problem. Yeah. And it seemed like he thought it was a first officer development session where, no, I'm just going to ask Aaron everything and get him to do everything. and I'm just going to kind of sit here and fly the plane.
Okay.
And I was like, something happened. I can't even remember what the situation was, but an ECAM came up, something happened, and he said, okay, I have control. Okay, run the ECAM actions. We ran the ECAM actions, and then he said, okay, so what are we going to do? I was like, okay, well, maybe we should have a look at some options first and, see what we've got. Yeah, okay, that's a good thing. That's a good idea. Do you want to do that? And he literally just kind of sat there, flew the plane, and that made me do everything.
Really?
I was like, I mean, it's okay, I'll do it, but just like, dude, a little help.
This is your job?
Yeah. Is that okay? So if you want to do the PA to the passengers, like, bro,
should we swap seats? Do you want me to give me your stripes? Yeah, give me your stripes, and then I'll do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I think we should give the next brief to the purser. Aaron, just give the next brief to the purser. Call them in. Okay.
What am I saying? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
This is another sim that we didn't talk about, like command sims. When you're moving from the right-hand seat to the left-hand seat, obviously there's a whole sim course to do your command sim. And as you get closer towards command, so we do, call them first officer development sessions. I don't know if you do sim one over there, because most first officers want to become a captain, and that's the natural progression of being a pilot. So when you're doing normal sims and normal day-to-day, the captain is the one making decisions. And they're asking, we're asking the first officer what their opinion is. But I think until you have to come up with the decision yourself, it's hard for you to really develop those kind of skills.
Definitely,
we do a first officer development where the first officer, depending on how many hours you've got, you can either sit in the right-hand seat or sit in the left-hand seat. And the captain has to act as an inexperienced first officer. So whatever happens, it's up to you. But that's normally in the first officer development section of the sim, not just in the normal operating crew sim.
Yeah,
but fine, experience and all that.
Oh, exactly. I mean, and now when we do sims, we actually do a first officer development, but in the first part of the sim, so it's actually kind of graded as well, which is kind of good. I like it because it gives you I guess it gives you more confidence. It gets you to build up your confidence a bit more. So
100%.
It's pretty good. But I remember doing one sim again in the 320, and the captain and the instructor, they knew each other. They worked for a previous airline before together. They were busting jokes during the briefing. It was all cool. And I've flown with both of them before as well. And they're both real sound. And we got into the sim, and at the end we did the first officer development. And I'll never forget the captain. She just said, okay, I'll be the FO, and I've literally just started the airline. And I'm like, okay. I think we were supposed to be landing in Manchester on the approach. Manchester closes. And at the same time as we're doing a go around, we go into EMERELEC, so emergency electrical configuration.
You know what? I'm going to have to write this one down next time I do an first officer development.
God.
Thanks.
It was so... Oh, man. Yeah, so
that's
we're in emergency electric conversation. Configuration.
Yeah.
So basically, you're running off the batteries, and it was tough. It was tough, and everything I was asking to my FO, who was the captain, she was like, "Oh, I'm not really sure. I haven't seen this before."
You know what? So it is great for the captain, because that's probably the only time in the sim where you're like, right, just take my captain hat off. Nothing to do with me.
I'll just sit back.
And even though obviously we know what to do, you're like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can we not just turn it back on? Nope.
Yeah. Nah, it was funny though, and I know them two were just laughing in the back. And in the end, we landed in Liverpool, but they definitely didn't make it easy. But it was fun. Yeah. Okay. So next up, we look at pilot perspectives. So if you're new to the podcast, it's a section where I show Michelle a video, and then we just discuss it afterwards from the perspective of a pilot. So,
Yeah.
kind of relevant today.
And sorry if you're watching it. No, sorry if you're just listening.
Yeah, upgrade. Watch the video.
Upgrade, watch the video, man. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So the video this week is an evacuation test for the Airbus 380.
Okay, nice.
I'll let you watch it and then kind of explain a little bit more at the end. Well, actually, I could probably explain it while it's going on.
Okay.
Let me push play. So it's a test that they do with every aircraft that's certified to fly. So this is an EASA rating for this Airbus A380. And in this exact test, they're getting 800 people out of the emergency exits, and they have 90 seconds to do it.
Yeah.
And in this test, they can only use they can only use half of the exits. So they're only using 8 of the 16 exits. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's so many people.
They're the last people. So only 78 seconds it took. So the regulation is for 90 seconds, but they actually did it all in 78 seconds.
Is that a standard aircraft? Is that also for the 320? I'd need to check.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a standard for 320 as well.
So everyone has to be able to test it. Everyone has to be able to evacuate the aircraft using only half of the exits. So just one side of the airplane, the exits are deployed, the slides are deployed, and then everyone gets off.
90 seconds.
800 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But on a 320, so as a captain, you have to, I don't know if it's a company thing, probably. As a captain, you're the last one off. So the first officer will get off with the cabin crew, one of the forward doors, get off, take the passengers to a safe place, wherever you are. The captain should walk through the aircraft and make sure that nobody else is left, do the final sweep, and then get off at the back.
Yeah.
How do you do it on the 380? Because you've got upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah, similar. So it depends how the captain wants to run it, really. Generally, what the captain will do is, the first officer would be off first, and the captain would then either do downstairs first and then go upstairs and do upstairs second, or go upstairs first and then go downstairs.
Okay.
Get off the front.
Because you've got steps at the front and the back.
Yeah, so there's, if the slides are gone, there's, 3 upstairs and 5 downstairs. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
but it's 800 people in 78 seconds.
Yeah, so they certified it as if all of the floors were economy, so the maximum amount, which I don't think anyone flies it, but 800 passengers,
Yeah, so the maximum capacity. But this is also why, when you saw them getting off the plane, they didn't take their luggage. Don't take your luggage. If you need to get off the plane, just get off.
Exactly.
Because you don't want to be that person that's in the middle of the plane, pushing and fighting for the exits.
Yeah.
They're going to be so annoyed if they can see you grabbing your bag and they're still on and the fire's coming or whatever. Just get off the plane, please.
Just get off the plane.
Just get off the plane.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
so
no, that's
I can't remember
interesting to see,
the exact statistics, but I think there was only a few minor injuries after this, because generally going down the slides, there's going to be some kind of injury of some kind. Obviously, you have people of different ages. Going
and
down
somebody's
the slides,
pushing you from behind, and you're trying to get off the other side, and everyone's coming down. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think from memory, someone told me that there was an incentive if they made it in the 90 seconds. So I don't know, €100 or whatever it was.
Okay.
So,
but it proves it can be done.
No, exactly. And this has to be done to certify the plane to fly. So I just thought it was pretty cool to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. No, interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Oh, that's what I was going to ask. Do you have to go down the slides at some point through 20?
So we only did the initial. So when you very, very first start, maybe flying a commercial jet, then you go down the slides. So we went to wherever our training was at Gatwick, and you drop down the slides and then you get off.
Yeah.
And then you also have to do a swimming test. I remember going to a swimming pool, and you have to pull someone do one length with someone, and get into a huddle, tread water for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think we only have to do those things once, because once you've done it, then that's it. I mean, did you have to do it again for your airline?
Yeah, no, I mean, we had to do it again with the airline on our initial, when we first joined. So we had
Swimming
to do...
and the slides.
We had to do swimming. We did the slides. And we also did the slide. And then we like detached the slide from the airplane into the swimming pool. So we actually like made the slide into a raft, and then we kind of just rode the raft a little way. Yeah.
Fun.
And maybe I think we also got out the life raft type thing and got inside the life raft. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I think you only have to kind of do that. I don't think I'd have, if I fly a 320 for a different company, for example, I don't think I'd have to do it again. Maybe if I joined a different company, they had different rules, or
possibly,
if I did long haul, because if you're flying over the Atlantic or somewhere, it's a bit bigger than the Bay of Biscay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Cool. Takeaways from this week before we wrap it up.
Takeaways from the week: get comfortable in the sim. You're going to be there twice a year minimum. Get comfortable in the sim. Learn something every time you go in. That's it.
Yeah. Be in the sim. Take some notes and keep them for next time. You know, even if they're just little bullet points that you could do better next time, because in 6 months you're gonna forget the last thing you did. So just keep some notes and be ready. So yeah, the next sim's around the corner.
Before you know it, you're in the sim again.
Literally.
Yeah. That's oh no, I'm done for 6 months. 6 months later, you're like, whoa, where are my notes? Where did I put them?
Exactly.
Cool.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Have a good week.
And yeah, you too. See you next time.
Till next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.